much for the opportunity to speak today. It's such an honor. It's been an honor to be part of this Shifting Food Systems network. I've learned so much and also unlearned a fitting amount as well, so that I can be more available to the transformation that our food system needs going forward. I've had the great privilege of working at Stone Barn Center for Food and Agriculture for 2 decades. Um, there's a couple of key components to this property that I think make us very unique. I believe many of you have been to this property, so I'm so glad that we can share in a visual and a place-based relevance. For those who have not, I hope I can somewhat give you a visual here, and I hope that you travel over to the website after we speak today and dig around and investigate further some of our projects, collaborations, and just to learn a bit more about our work. So one of the most special things about Stone Barn Center for Food and Agriculture, and Jack alluded to this a little bit in his opening, is that we are able to serve as a hub to collaborate with a great many people across the sectors. And that seems to be a key element of any impact and change, is the fact that we can lock arms with many diverse perspectives, people coming from different backgrounds, different focuses, so that we can really understand further the complexities of this multifaceted food system that we find ourselves part of, consuming from, contributing to. My background is in agriculture, so I came from an agricultural background, and my focus is on building soil, growing plants. But I've matured into my work as the organization at Stone Barn Center for Food and Agriculture has matured, deepened our content, and been able to serve in many different ways through education, vocational training for uprising farmers and chefs. And now we're supporting the next generation of leaders who are going to be carrying this work forward. So at Stone Barn Center for Food and Agriculture, we're working to catalyze an ecological food culture so that we can change the food system to benefit human health, strengthen communities, protect the soil. And again, it's all about collaboration and regenerative farming principles. So here at the farm, we have about 450 acres that we're stewarding, and we're very committed to regenerative agricultural principles and practices. And we've learned a lot over our arc of development. Not only are we producing food for a community, but we're also discovering that through these regenerative practices, we're centering ecological restoration alongside food production. And we have two key partners, place-based partners in this work. One of them is Blue Hill at Stone Barns, which is a restaurant, and you can see this great picture of chefs in the kitchen as we center education, curiosity, and innovation in our work together. We believe chefs are great change makers, and they help to amplify our regenerative agricultural practices. And we really rise up to a broader set of questions together in our inquiry and our work forward. We also have a surrounding state park preserve. So through a partnership with our state park preserve, we're also kind of broadening our inquiry as to how to not only impact land management in a way that helps ecological thriving, but also so that we can remediate ecosystems. We do quite a bit of trialing, growing trials, ecological monitoring, and we focus on lay rotation systems, grazing, multi-species grazing. Pardon, I'm having a little bit of trouble. There we go. And community engagement. And that's why I'm so excited that my colleague Carolina Saavedra is here today so that she can speak to you a little bit more about our community engagement, both on-site and off-site or property.
Thank you, Shannon.
My pleasure. Forgive me for the slides. We'll see. It's a little clunky.
All right, we could hit the next slide. And as we're getting the slides ready, hi everyone. Again, my name is Carolina Saavedra. I'm the Community Education Manager over at Stone Barn Center. I've been working there since 2018. And I'm super exciting of, every day just being there and being able to, showcase one of the many projects that happened there. And so today we're going to speak specifically on the LEAF program, and that stands for Leading an Ecological and Accessible Food System. It's Stone Barn's collaborative way to address food insecurity through community-driven, climate-aligned solution. And the way this program runs is through biweekly food distributions that are regeneratively and locally grown, but that are also culturally relevant to the people that are receiving these produce. It also includes seasonal home gardening kits with seedlings and tools. And then also these kits, if we have partnerships with community gardens throughout Westchester County and the Bronx. So for anyone that doesn't have a stable home, they're able to have their grow kits in one of these community garden partners. And last but not least, we also do bilingual nutritional education. All right, next slide, please. But why, right? There's so many programs out throughout the US, throughout all over the world that address or attempt to address food insecurity. The problem is that this is just a baseline solution the way it's been running, right? Most of these programs run in a format that it's by just placing a plate of food of somebody and then that's it. You're food secure now. Or they'll give you all of these highly processed foods. Think about, when you go to a food distribution line, the thing you most are likely to see are highly processed foods. So these are foods that are canned, right? That come with high sodium, that aren't culturally relevant. And so, you know, most of these produce aren't even coming from small scale farmers, aren't even coming from regenerative farms. So this is why we are addressing this now, right? In the climate that we're in, right? We know climate change is a real thing. We know more people are being food insecure as the years go by. For example, in one of the locations we run our program, which is the South Bronx, 1 in 4 people are food insecure. And nationally throughout the US, it's 1 in 7. So this program is needed now. Next slide, please. So this is the way we run the LEAF model, which is, to combat climate change, but also address the food system in a just way, right? So this way, people do become food secure in a more just manner. And the way we work is through trust and engagement. This means we are very close connected with all of our partners, both in our Westchester location and in our South Bronx location. The way this trust is built, right, is by us being at the forefront and then them also, giving us feedback of what we're doing. And it's a back and forth dialogue with everything we do. So this goes from as far as right now, what we are collecting is, throughout the year this program has been running, what are the produce that you've been the most excited to receive? So like that, we integrated to our 2026 crop year rotation. And so far out of gathering, this data, the thing that they're most excited about is what's called in Spanish una acelga, and for us is a Swiss chard. This is a crop we just introduced this year to our participants. And now it's growing in our greenhouse, and now it's being incorporated to the 2026 crop growing season for our farm at Stone Barn Center. So this is kind of how this relationship is built, right? It's not just us dropping food in front of somebody. It's them saying, you know what, this works. We're excited about this. Can you grow more? And then our farmers going back to, well, you know what, this specific plot of land does need the production of this specific crop because it would balance our soils. So it's also incorporating the health and the well-being of our soils at our farm. And that's how we addressed also the environmental impact, the ecological literacy, the social networks, and most importantly, the co-designing. Everything we do is co-designed by both our participants, our farmer, and then the third layer, which is our researchers. Next slide, please. We have a partnership with Columbia University, and the partnership there is that researchers are able to analyze all of the data we gather through the years. The LEAF program started in 2023. We are now in our third year in the Bronx and second year in Sleepy Hollow. How we run the data collection is 3 points of the year, our participants receive surveys, and then these surveys are analyzed by our Columbia University partners. The way the surveys are distributed is during every single pickup of your plant transplants, which matches the cycle that the farm is also growing in. We roll out these surveys. And what we've learned so far is that the most important one is that we have a 99% of retention rate, which is very random if anyone's in the research world to, actually have. Out of the 80 families that have enrolled since 2023, 99% of them have stayed with us. The one family that left our program was because they no longer qualified. In order for you to qualify to be a LEAF participant, you have to live in that 10454 area code. And then in Westchester County, you have to live in the 10591 area code. This family moved to Connecticut, so that was the one reason we couldn't have that 100% retention rate for our participants. And what we learned so far from all of the data analysis that our partners have been doing is that if you give people, the skill set to grow their own foods and listen to them and hear out what they want to grow, and then also have that dialogue with the farmers and see what is the crop that is best for our, for our grounds, what are the climate, for our climate, would they grow it? And the answer is yes. And they're excited about it, and they will do it, and they will respond to it, and they will eat it. And then their diets also change, and their behaviors of consumerism also change. And so we're seeing these trends. And what we also saw is that when the program isn't available to our participants, the trend dips, which means our participants eat or have less resources, or don't have the accessibility to find these crops that they're used to receiving when the program is available to them. And so the reason all of this data is so important to us is because we hear the farmer, we understand the needs of the soil through them, but also we hear our participants and understand their needs as well. But now we have the science backing up all of our data and saying, this program actually works, and other programs should be running the same way that the LEAF program is actively running right now. So where are we now in 2025? We are continuing doing our data analysis through surveys, but now we're adding another layer. So this year, what we implemented is now a qualitative data, which means that our participants are now being interviewed, right? because anybody could just write an answer and says, yes, I ate my vegetables. But now for you to actually say it and be recorded live saying it, you know, will your answers change? Or where's the excitement of your answer, you know? So we want to capture all of those feelings and emotions, as well as having that timestamp of, you know, this is what you said a year ago, and this is what you're saying now. So to see where the excitements are changing or what crops are the most, you know, looked forward for. And additionally, we are introducing our newest device, which is a veggie meter, which is a non-invasive way to prove that you have been eating your vegetables, that you have been saying and doing what you've been saying through your surveys and also through the recordings of you. And so the way a veggie meter works is that it reads your carotenoid levels, which are found on high pigmented foods. So think about, you know, your carrots, your kales, your tomatoes, your spinach, your eggplants, anything with those dark colors, maybe a pepper throughout the summer. Carmen pepper is one of the things they love the most, and those are very bright red. So we would be able to read those levels with this device. The way it works is kind of like a credit score. A 0, you don't eat your vegetables. An 800, you eat it every single day, 3 times a day. But what we noticed is that the national average for the US is a 200 credit. It's a 200 measuring score. So because of where we're starting, again, these participants have been with us now for the past 3 years. We wish we had the funds to have this veggie meter at the very beginning of the program, right? And most likely all of our participants would have landed at that 200 level or below, like the national average. So now we're at this, you know, 3-year mark. So we're going to see where our participants are and then keep testing them forward to see, you know, what are the levels? Are people eating what they're saying they're eating? Are the surveys matching up to this veggie meter description? But we do need your support. So the way we fundraise is every $2,000 that we fundraise offers this program to our participants throughout the season. A family is usually an average of 4. Everything we do throughout this program, whether it's the produce distribution, you know, the skill sets of growing your food at the comfort of your own home or at a partner community garden, the nutritional educations, and then all of the data analysis is at no cost whatsoever to any of our participants. And again, once you sign up to be a LEAF participant, you're with us until you say, you know what, well, I'm moving out of this area code and I can no longer participate. So no one gets kicked out of this program at all. The other beautiful thing that we do is anytime we are able to add a new family into the program, our existing, you know, members help the new family. So they are now like the advocates for them and saying, you know what, well, this is how also, and they're also their advisor. So they also help them grow their foods at these community gardens or at these gatherings. And so it's a very close-knit community, both through our participants and the fact that they all know our farmers is beautiful because they all know who grew their food and where their foods came from. So that's just a little bit about LEAF. If you would like to look or learn more about it, please visit our website at the stonebarncenter.org website.